You don't want to get older, but it happens. No one likes it, but that's reality. These days, people say you're in the prime of your life in your 30s. But the reality is that once you pass 25, anyone under 20 considers you old and your body begins to change. Ill health tends to drag on. Your neck and shoulders get stiff. A kind of fever clouds your thoughts and your bowels gurgle. Each problem on its own is no big deal, but they build up and last until the next day. And the cumulative stress hits you not when you're busy, but later, when you're trying to relax. That's how it felt for Kiyotaka IJICHI. He sighed at this thought. He had meetings with Kyoto Jujutsu High to go over paperwork related to the Kyoto Sister School Goodwill event to do. He had to address the matter of curse users and cursed spirits invading the school, and he had to assess the damage. He had to operate behind the scenes to replace fatalities in the ranks, and he had to tend to the families of those who hadn't survived, and he had to obtain baseball gear, which had suddenly become necessary. Amidst all that, what was to have been his next job, a first-year mission to address the damage resulting from a cursed spirit incident in Saitama, had suddenly been assigned to a different assistant manager named Nida. The man had even taken his investigatory data. Ever since the Goodwill event, secrecy had shrouded the assistant's plans, so the change had come so unexpectedly that IJICHI didn't have anything prepared to replace it. His schedule hadn't been this wide open in a long time. He let out a deflated sound when he reached his desk in the office at Jujutsu High. Now that he thought about it, he had been working non-stop. With unexpected time on his hands, IJICHI wasn't surprised to find that his physical condition was less than desirable. He didn't do highly visible work, so he could take time off if he wanted, but it made him uncomfortable to do so, except on weekends and public holidays. Furthermore, many sorcerers were analog-minded, while IJICHI's duties involved working on a computer and filling in online forms. IJICHI didn't like the thought of having to provide instruction over the phone if trouble requiring digital tasks arose. He knew all too well that people who were no good at computers were practically incapable of even pressing the power button. IJICHI turned on his computer. Nothing in particular required his attention, so he checked his email and organized the icons on his desktop. Then he tweaked the forms for documents he used on a regular basis, reviewed the procedures he used for office work, and tidied up a drawer that he'd been neglecting for some time now. He had reached a stopping point and was sipping a cup of office tea when a thought came to him. Am I just making myself more tired? The possibility shocked him. He thought he was working because he was busy, but now he realized that he just didn't have anything to do outside of work. It was a painful thought. He performed his duties with a sense of responsibility, but it worried him a little to imagine his life consisted of nothing more. No, it worried him a lot. The sorcerers risked their lives on the front line, while the most he would ever do is provide logistical support, so he didn't like to think about his own well-being. While having these thoughts, he felt a cramping sensation in his abdomen. He sighed again. He hadn't been overeating or drinking. He had an appetite, but for a while now, he'd been feeling as though his body wasn't functioning properly. Was he tired? Yes, he was definitely tired. But he had been so absorbed in work that he hadn't noticed. He was unable to spend idle moments idly. Instead, he dragged around vague worries and found trivial tasks to fritter away the time. This was no good. Something had to change. Oh, I know! He clapped his hands and stood up. Since his stomach hurt, he should visit the doctor. He straightened items on his desktop, locked away important documents for safekeeping, and breezily strolled to the school infirmary. All right, y'all. That is section 1 of chapter 3, another chapter for IJICHI. This chapter is going to be a lot of fun. There's only 4 sections to it, but one of those sections happens in a bar with Gojo and Choco, so it gets very interesting. As far as this first section goes, I just wanted to say this is the most relatable shit I have ever heard. That's what adulthood is. This is what it feels like. You sit at the computer too long and all of a sudden your neck hurts for absolutely no reason. And if you don't handle your neck hurting, the next day you wake up with a headache and your neck hurts. And if you don't handle that, then the day after that, your back hurts. I have never related to a JJK character more. Anyway, next section, we get to breezily walk into the infirmary to see Dr. Shoko. So look forward to that and plenty of blushing from IJICHI. I'll see y'all there.